Hey there, YouTube gardeners. I've got quite a few projects going on today. I want to show you what I'm working on and how I install landscape edging. It's tedious and rough when you're doing it in dirt like mine. I've got topsoil for about 3 inches, but then I need another 2 inches to get the 5 inches depth. And that last 2 inches is really difficult because of the amount of rock I have. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to switch camera angles. All of that rock that you see, and it goes around the corner, is rock that I gathered from finishing my grass area. Just whatever was on the surface before I brought in topsoil, I raked up, saved, and used over here to put gravel in. But today, I ripped out all this sod. It was right here. You can see that fresh patch of dirt. So I want to work on this pathway, making it a pathway for us to walk through. And I've started digging down deep for where the landscape edging is going to go. It's going to follow this line. And that helps keep the grass out. This is where I stopped digging just because I decided I wanted to make a video on it. I'm going to continue digging and show you how I do it. Use the shovel and I try to keep it at a straight up and down vertical level when I dig down that first dig, because you want to have your landscape edging vertical. Fortunately, right here, I needed extra topsoil when I was bringing it in to finish the grass. I have it a little bit easier right here. That first stretch that I did, that I already showed you, I even needed a pickaxe to get down deep enough through the rock. Right here is easy going. I like to scoop it up and throw it out of the way so it's not falling back in as I'm running the edging. I don't want to go too far because I want to be able to use it to backfill and hold the edging in place. So the bed's curving that way, so I try to lay this out so the curve that it's naturally in from being rolled up is going to be following the curve that I'm going. It doesn't always work that way though. I like to get it mostly laid. It's easier than unrolling it as you go. It looks like I got deep enough. This is where I want it. Some areas that might even be a little too deep, that's okay. I can easily fill in some dirt underneath it. I'll come back and smooth this all over. Right now I'm just using the dirt to hold it in place. This won't keep out all the grass, but it'll definitely help. Those rhizomes that the grass puts out are pretty persistent. They seem to be able to find their way no matter what I do. But this helps enough to make it manageable. All right, when I come to this last section, I haven't quite figured out my plan for the rest of this, if I want to curve the bed out or not. So for now, I'm just going to cut the edging off right here where it meets what the old bed used to be, where the grass and the bark used to meet. Stuff is pretty good and easy to cut. Just use a utility knife. Get a good idea. I like to cut a little bit long, just in case. Easier to cut more off than it is to add on. So I'm going to go with about right here. Now, the edging right now is on an angle because of how it's sticking out of the dirt, the lower section. I'm going to just make sure I do a 90-degree angle off of this surface or this surface. Do my best to get a 90-degree cut. Just have to score it once. And you can actually break it. Because there's a rock right there. Story of my life in this yard. It's going to be the big rock too. Well, not too big. Amazing. Get a rock that size in hard packed rocky dirt. I'm not going to call it soil, I wouldn't dare. Amazing how much it can stop you. Stop your efforts. Need a little trim. All right, I like the edge to be deep enough that like the lawnmower's not going to easily ride over it, but I don't want it sticking up so high that it doesn't get down deep enough to stop the roots of the grass. I keep the top of this about equal to where the dirt, to where the soil for the sod is. All right, I'm going to hammer in some stakes. These stakes have a little hook that should slide over and clip on, kind of latch on to the edging. I'm going to hold the stake straight up and down and hope it goes in. I like to have a stake on the ends, just like that. Anytime there's an end or a seam or near a curve, I like to have a stake just to help hold it better. I'm going to go about every 5 feet on this, I'd say. One here and one on that end. Will be good. Is this going to be the one? Nope, it's going. All right. Much better success than the other bed I did. I got 1 out of 5 to actually go in on that other bed with these plastic stakes. Okay, I'm going to backfill it. Go get a rake. All right, this is the kind of rake I'm using for this. It's a rigid rake, rock rake. I don't know exactly what to call it. That's what we call it around here. Just gonna rake some of the dirt toward the edging so it helps hold it in place. I will be getting some nicer topsoil and compost and stuff, mixing it in before I plant in this new bed. I like to tamp it down a little bit, but I'm not gonna use my foot to step on it or anything like I see people do, because that starts you off with compacted soil, and I plan on putting some edging plants in here. I don't want to deal with compacted soil from the get-go, but I do want it to stay in place and fill in that spot, so I will tamp it down with the rake, and that seems good enough in my experience. A shortage of rocks around here. Another thing I could do is just water it in instead of tamping it down with this. But I've done this in the past a lot and it works, so. This will kind of even out too. I can put some soil back here, help even out that wonky part of the edging. I'll be leveling all of this out again after I dig the holes for some of my bigger plants. I'm going to be amending really deeply here, here, and here. Digging real deep, adding some compost and even some chicken manure compost, because I want to grow giant sunflowers this year. So I want to give them lots of room to grow their roots and have plenty of nutrition, so they can just be as heavy feeders as they want to be and grow tall. That's the goal. A little bit low over here, so dragging some more soil. And then this backside will fill in. The grass fills in surprisingly quickly, especially once you get some water on it. Those roots this time of year, rhizomes, are just shooting out like crazy. So it'll fill in and support the backside a little bit better very quickly. That's how I do edging. I suppose I should show you why I did all this. I did a short video last week making that dark bark mulch path right there, or wood chip path. All of these pink flags represent dahlias that I've planted. I have the flags there to help me space them out. If you have a plant that you bury completely and smooth the dirt over, it's hard to see exactly where you planted it. So it's hard for me to judge spacing. And I do the dahlias that way. And there are some gaps now that I can see that I want to go back and fill in with a few more dahlias. But anyway, back to where we were. My goal of this whole project, both this left side and this right side, is I wanted some paths. I wanted to be able to have it feel like you're walking through a path into a place. So that's what this is all about. Keeping this section grass. Once we get across this Rain River, I'm going to be ripping out all of that grass and adding some Scottish moss and a bunch of stepping stones. I haven't decided if I'm going to do some wood planking or stepping stones, but something to go through this honeysuckle tunnel that will hopefully fill in a lot this year. My idea is I want to be able to come through this tunnel, have this pathway here, some giant sunflowers over in this area, some more border friendly plants and flowers right here, midnight marvel hibiscus right there. So as you're walking through here, you don't really see the backyard. You know, all of this will be blocked. It'll feel like you're entering into a new space, so to speak. Get to around here, you can start to see the rest of the yard. And there you go.